First Coast News begins with breaking news.
And that breaking news right now is happening over on Jacksonville's west side. Right now, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is investigating an accident involving one of their own.
Now, this is happening near the intersection of Jamies Road in Wilson. And First Coast News' Stephen Dial is on the scene. He joins us right now live. Stephen?
Heather, is still an active scene. Let me show you what's going on. As you can see, JSO was just taking pictures of that dark colored vehicle that you can see right there in your shot. Airbags are deployed. Now we're going to pan over to the left near this home. JSO has been looking in a ditch area there. I have not physically seen a vehicle there, but we cannot right now see the vehicle that was involved that a JSO officer was in. JSO is going to be updating us in about 4 minutes about this accident with injuries involving a JSO officer. Again, there is something that they're taking a picture of over there in that ditch, and JSO has been focusing and taking pictures of that dark color vehicle that you see right there in your shot. That vehicle's airbags have been deployed. Again, JSO is going to give us an update in a matter of minutes about this accident with injuries involving a JSO officer. So we're going to stay here on the scene to work to figure out what that officer's injuries may or may not be and the other person involved. Back to you guys.
Thank you. Also right now, other breaking news we're following. JSO is investigating a reported attempted robbery at the Family Dollar on Monument Road. This is a picture from a map on Google. Officers tell us the suspect is in custody. Police there, they will be addressing the media sometime around 11:15. We're going to try to get as much information as we can for you. We know we got a lot of calls from viewers who saw police activity over there. We're going to try to get you some more information.
And I can't understand why somebody would do this to a veteran.
Nearly 2 weeks after an 86-year-old veteran was brutally attacked and left for dead in a ditch. Tonight, the 3 people charged with this heinous crime are back in Jacksonville.
Melvin Clark was found with his throat slashed, unable to talk. The 3 suspects were actually captured in South Florida, and those suspects are now in the Duval County Jail tonight. The 3 that were arrested, their names, Douglas Searcy, Jennifer Schulte, and Ray Jones. Now, we're not showing their mugshots because the victim is still not able to talk with investigators. He's still in the hospital recovering from the attack. 86-year-old Melvin Clark was lured to the west side. That information is coming to us from JSO. His car was found in Miami a day after the attack.
2 of the 3 suspects gave detailed accounts of what had occurred, which allowed us to charge all 3 with attempted murder, robbery, and kidnapping.
What we know, all 3 suspects have criminal histories, and you can be sure to count on us for an update as soon as JSO gives us the okay to release those mugshots and as soon as we receive more information to give to you. All right, I want to talk about this right now. A threat about a shooting at Terry Parker High School is circulating on social media tonight. This threat says tomorrow a student is going to shoot up the school with friends in honor of the Columbine shooting. So you see that message right there. We do want to let you know tonight that we contacted Duval County Schools about this. They say it does not appear credible. School police investigated and they will continue to monitor an increased presence at school tomorrow just as a precaution.
All new tonight, more fallout against a Florida state senator who admitted to using a racial slur and making offensive comments. The NAACP is now calling for Senator Frank Artiles to resign. Earlier today, he made a formal apology during the Senate session. Now, despite that, the Miami senator lost his chairmanship today. Jacksonville State Senator Audrey Gibson was at the private club when Artiles made those comments. She tells us she's offended and that it has been an emotional couple of days.
I'm a mom, I'm a Mimi, and I think that part is what really made me feel the worst or the teariest, because I have text messages from my kids that I didn't even call last night. So it's, it's tough.
Now, Senator Gibson tells us she has since moved her computer so she isn't sitting next to him during Senate meetings. She also says she's ready to just focus on her job and to leave it up to the special master's investigation.
New information tonight, the Jacksonville babysitter who admitted to getting frustrated and throwing a 5-month-old baby pleaded not guilty in court today. That baby later died. 56-year-old Barbara Kendrick was babysitting him last month when she says she lost her temper and threw the child into a playpen with force. A neighbor tried to save the child's life by performing CPR but was unsuccessful. Kendrick is charged with second-degree murder and aggravated child abuse. She is expected back in court next month.
New information tonight in the case against former Congresswoman Corrine Brown. Jury selection is scheduled to begin Monday, and today her daughter, Chantrell Brown, filed a motion asking for the court to release her from testifying at her mother's trial. The government has subpoenaed her to be a trial witness. According to the motion, she plans to invoke her Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate herself and said she would remain silent if the government calls her to the stand.
A new report reveals President Donald Trump set a record for the amount of money donated for his inauguration.
And it turns out Jaguars owner Shad Khan helped him get there. So, did he actually donate? And if he did, just how much money? Julia Janae is verifying this story for us tonight.
That's right. Our Verify team has been looking into whether or not Shad Khan, the Jaguars owner, made that $1 million donation and how President Trump's inauguration funds compare to previous presidencies. We're using records from the Federal Election Commission that itemizes donations. A new FEC form was filed yesterday. It shows a $1 million contribution from Shadid Khan of Naples, Florida. This form contains a typo in Khan's last name, but we used the listed address and property records to verify that this donation is a true claim. Khan has many political donations to the Republican Party and candidates, but some also to local Democrats, like a $5,000 donation to Florida Senator Bill Nelson and $5,000 to former Congresswoman Corrine Brown in 2012. Khan's $1 million contribution puts him in the company of several other NFL owners, like Woody Johnson of the New York Jets, Daniel Snyder of the Washington Redskins, and Robert McNair of the Houston Texans. FEC records also show that Khan has stayed away from making political contributions during the primaries and election season of 2016. But this seven-figure donation came on December 28th. We also verified how President Trump's inauguration fundraising compared to previous inaugural committees. Each page of the FEC report contains 3 donations. Trump's report is 508 pages, or approximately 1,500 donors who launched him to the $106.7 million mark in inaugural funds. In 2013, President Obama raised $43.7 million for his inauguration, approximately raised by 1,600 donors. President George W. Bush in 2004's inaugural raised $42.2 million from 19,000 donors, meaning President Trump raised more than double the previous 2 presidents with less than 10% of the number of donations. Now, we also talked to Derek Hankerson, who has weighed in on political topics for First Coast News in the past, and he was a volunteer for President Trump's inaugural festivities. Here's what he had to say about these numbers.
President Obama's standard was that he limited donations to $50,000 and he did not accept contributions from lobbyists or corporations. Unlike President Trump, there was no limit on the inaugurations. And I think that people who contributed to President Trump, a lot of them are business owners, and they want to work with President Trump to make sure that business interests are aligned with the White House.
Now, if you have something you want us to verify, you can email us at verify@firstcoastnews.com. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Julia. Well, after sitting in a jail cell for 3 years, Randall Wagner is tonight a free man. He's a former truck driver accused of murder and arson in 2014. According to our partners at the Florida Times Union, a judge decided to release him today after the prosecutor admitted that the case against him was weak. The medical examiner was also not sure that the victim's death was a homicide. Now, this same prosecutor, Peter Overstreet, was under investigation back in 2015. He handled the case of Jerome Hayes, a man who spent 19 months in jail for a crime he did not commit.
No arrests have been made in a sexual assault case. Jacksonville police recently released a sketch of the man they say forced his way into a home and assaulted a woman on Beach Boulevard. We want to show you that sketch again. We're going to try to show this to you as many times as possible. This is the man described as a white man, possibly Hispanic, bald with no facial hair. Police also released a picture of the truck that he may be driving in. It's an older model, 2-door truck, and you can see right there it has a toolbox in the back. So, we know he has a thin build. He's about 6 feet tall. Police say he has tattoos on both arms, and he was last seen wearing a black t-shirt and khaki pants. If you have any information tonight, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers, 866-845-TIPS.
Well, this might be one of the most bizarre stories you'll hear today. A woman says she was driving along County Road 220 in Clay County when her tire blew out. Not because of a nail, not because of debris, but because of a bullet. Randy Yarborough says his employee pulled into work with a flat tire after she noticed her back tire was losing pressure. According to a police report, a bullet from a high-powered rifle caused that flat tire. Yarborough says he's concerned it can happen again, and next time it could end differently.
I got chills all over me because what if we'd have been going through there and that would have struck us, and because if it would have went through that tire and rim like that with no problem, it would have went right through a vehicle and could have killed someone.
The tow truck driver that came to get her car says he also had his tires shot out on County Road 220. The Clay County Sheriff's Office is investigating. They tell us, though, it's too early right now to say if it was target practice or intentional.
Police in Louisiana have arrested the former boyfriend of a Jacksonville model. Jokeisha Brown was shot and killed last summer. Authorities say Alfredo Capote raped, robbed, and kidnapped Jokeisha Brown at her home in Duluth last April. 3 months later, she was found shot to death in her car at a Cheshire Bridge Road strip mall in Georgia. Capote is listed as a person of interest, but so far he has not been charged in her death. We also have new information in the search for Flagler County Schools superintendent. Clay County Schools Under Superintendent Jeffrey Umba is in the running for the Flagler County position. On Monday, one of the 4 finalists for the position withdrew their application, so Umba is now one of the top 3 choices. The city of Green Cove Springs has appointed Derek Asdod as the acting police chief. Asdod has been employed by the city of Green Cove Springs since 2002. You may remember the previous chief, Robert Musco, resigned amid allegations he made some racist comments. We have some dramatic new details surrounding the suicide of Aaron Hernandez. The reason his family doesn't believe he took his own life.
Plus, IKEA may be getting into the restaurant business. Why, they say it makes sense.
And we're warming up for the next couple of days, but there's something else heating up, and it's in the tropics. I've got that forecast coming up in a bit.
We have some chilling new details tonight surrounding the apparent suicide of Aaron Hernandez. Reports now suggest John 3:16 was written on his forehead with a marker when he was found. Officials also say a Bible was opened to that specific verse. Earlier today, prison officials found the former NFL star hanging in his cell. But tonight, an attorney for Aaron Hernandez says he isn't convinced his client committed suicide at all. Jose Baez says Hernandez wasn't remotely suicidal, and family members believe foul play is involved.
There's no way that Aaron would take his own life. Something's not right. Something doesn't add up. Something doesn't add up.
Hernandez was just acquitted in a double murder case last week and was planning to appeal his current murder conviction. Baez vows to conduct his own investigation. Hernandez leaves behind a fiance and a 4-year-old daughter.
Tonight, the internet is abuzz with Serena is pregnant headlines. The 35-year-old tennis star posted this photo right here of herself labeled 20 weeks that she shared on Snapchat while displaying the baby bump right there. So that means Williams won the Australian Open in January while she was 2 months pregnant. During the Open, she set a record of 23 Grand Slam singles. Williams got engaged late last year to the Reddit co-founder, Alexis Ohanian.
A police officer in Georgia found a stun gun disguised as a pack of cigarettes during a traffic stop. This is from the Kennesaw Police Department, about 30 miles from Atlanta. They say the driver who was pulled over repeatedly asked to grab his pack of cigarettes. The officer told him no, and eventually he discovered it was a stun gun. The officer wanted to show the public why they often say no to your request to smoke or make a phone call. Online advertisements list similar products being sold for less than $50.
Wow. Jeb Bush and Derek Jeter have now joined forces in their bid to buy the Miami Marlins. The former Florida governor and retired New York Yankees star were once rivals for the Major League Baseball franchise. Now, though, they are working together. The two are estimated to have a combined net worth of just over $200 million. Bush was once the owner of the Texas Rangers. That was from 1989 to 1998.
All right, some news for hunters out there tonight. There will be no Florida bear hunt this year or in 2018. While population numbers support another bear hunt, wildlife officials say there's still more work to do to convince the public it's actually necessary. In 2015, hunters killed 304 bears in the state's first hunt in more than 20 years. The hunt was supposed to take place for a week, but ended after 2 days due to public outcry.
Well, do you love those Swedish meatballs? You know, the ones IKEA serves? IKEA now considering opening standalone restaurants and cafes. The company did a survey. It found astoundingly 30% of its customers go to IKEA strictly for the food. And get this, the furniture giant sells more than 1 billion meatballs each year. That's equal to 2.9 million a day. Now, over the past 2 years, IKEA has launched pop-up eateries in London and in Paris. Sad to say, no IKEA restaurants are coming to Jacksonville anytime soon, but there is a new store. It's going to be opening on the south side this fall. And I have to say, I have never been to IKEA, but I hear all about those meatballs.
I have. I've been to IKEA in Texas. I've had the meatballs. I mean, they're okay. I mean, some people love them, but
I hear
to have their own
things.
restaurants,
I've never had them.
More power to them.
I actually have heard of them as well, and I haven't been to an IKEA in years, so.
But I'm excited about the one opening up here. Okay,
yes.
Now to the weather. Gorgeous out there today.
It sure is, but you know what? I'm tracking the tropics. Can you believe it, guys? The Atlantic hurricane season doesn't officially begin until June 1st, but we've got Subtropical Depression 1, and that is our headliner for this evening, although I've got to say it's going to be a fish storm, which means no land is threatened by this, and actually, some of you may wake up tomorrow morning, and it might not even be a subtropical depression any longer. So a very short-lived system. And what is a subtropical depression versus a tropical depression? Well, it just means that it's formed over cooler waters, for one. The center of circulation is cloud-free and much bigger than a tropical system, and the strongest winds are usually farther out from that center of circulation versus the tropical storms and tropical depressions where the strongest winds are right at the center of that circulation. So it continues to meander towards the northeast along a front that we've got out in the central Atlantic, and it is eventually expected to dissipate or be absorbed by another extratropical low pressure system. So with all that being said, nothing tropical here across the first coast. In our neck of the woods, we're talking mid to upper 50s farther inland and low to mid 60s at the beaches tonight. Although we'll have mostly clear skies, calm winds. That's a recipe for some fog to develop by that Thursday morning commute away from the beaches especially, and then also areas that are north of that I-10 corridor. So by 7 or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, if you're traveling along the Florida-Georgia border, in the morning, you just want to keep an eye out or maybe give yourself a little extra time because we are going to see spots that could have near zero visibilities, which of course make for some pretty rough driving conditions that early. 85 degrees tomorrow. Today we hit 84 officially at the Jacksonville International Airport. Will be mostly sunny once again with that wind coming out of the southeast. At the beaches, a little cooler in the upper 70s, a whole 10 degrees warmer though as you head west throughout the afternoon. So we've got high pressure in control, and that's going to continue to rule our weather pattern as we head through Saturday. But the dry and warm pattern is going to break as we head into Sunday, and an area of low pressure tracks across the Florida Peninsula. So some much needed rain actually on the way. But ahead of that front, we're going to be warm and humid. So temperatures continue to climb. 90 degrees on Saturday, lots of sunshine. Make sure to load up on the H2O and of course the sunscreen as well if you plan to be outside. We cool off behind that low pressure system Monday, looking like a few lingering coastal showers and temperatures only in the upper 70s. We've got sports coming up after the break.
Everybody, we now know the dates and times. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
From the Farah and Farah Sports Desk, it's First Coast Sports.
Hello, everybody. We now know the dates and times for the Jaguars' first and third preseason games. But first, the Jags have several notable players entering contract years this offseason, and Telvin Smith is one of them. Smith has clearly outplayed his fifth-round draft position. He has averaged more than 100 tackles per season and shown the ability to make plays on the ball. Still, the third-year player is not forcing the issue.
My goal is always to be the best player on the field and be the best teammate I could be. So, you know, in that sense, as a teammate, that's always going to, you know, stand over anything. And that's why I showed up now, to show them that it's not about, you know, me and the personal goals I have going, but it's about this team and us trying to build something.
So here's a look at the dates and times for the Jags' first and third preseason games. I talked at the top of the sportscast. Their first game against the New England Patriots will be on Thursday, August 10th at 7:30, and that third game against the Carolina Panthers is set for Thursday, August 24th at 7:30 as well. Tonight, we continue our local players' path to the NFL Draft Series with former Bartram Trail quarterback Nate Peterman. Peterman had his most memorable performance against the later national champion Clemson Tigers. In 2016, he completed more than 60% of his passes for almost 3,000 yards and had 27 touchdowns. Today, ESPN Monday Night Football analyst John Gruden was asked which QB he would play this season if it were up to him. His answer, yeah, you guessed it, Peterman. Nate says he's ready for a shot.
I think whatever my opportunity is, I'm going to, definitely enjoy it, be thankful for it. I mean, to have a chance to be in the NFL is certainly quite an opportunity. So I'm just really thankful for whatever comes, and I think I learned that in college, that you never know when that opportunity comes, but when it does, you better be ready. So if it's day one, if it's a couple of years down the road, I'm going to be ready.
It's been more than a month since the Brunswick Pirates boys basketball team advanced to their second state championship game in school history. And while the outcome was not what they had hoped for, things are heating up for their senior star, Derek Lampkin. Yesterday, Derek signed to play ball at Andrew College in Cuthbert, Georgia. He says the small college in town are perfect for him, having grown up in the WIC. Plus, there will be little distractions. Lampkin and his mother, Valerie, have faced a tremendous amount of adversity. In fact, he almost lost his mother to domestic violence. So to see the bright future that lies ahead, they both say it's truly a blessing from above.
Well, during the regular season, it really wasn't like, we didn't have our mind on state championship, like playing in the state final. But as soon as the region tournament came, we won that region championship, we got that boost. Yeah, just as historical, we the second team to go to state, even though we came up a little short, but it's just still history.
He lost another one of his twin sisters in November, and he just began dedicating each game to them. And I told him, he jumped so high, I told him, I said, I think you have angels on your wings for real, like for real. And he just dedicated himself, and it paid off.
Jumped so high, his mom says she thinks he has angels on his wings. That's all right. The Bats were hot at JU tonight as the Dolphins hosted Florida A&M. Connor Stevens said it must be a sale at the Avenues Mall because, yeah, he hit that one into the gap in right center field. And the Dolphins are on the board first. 5 consecutive hits in the second inning, including this one from Dakota Delia right here. And that's going to score a run to make it 2-0. They add one more in the second inning and led 10-0 into the seventh. JU would go on to win 10-4. That's the schools of the Dolphins' 11th straight win, their longest win streak since 1994. Hashtag Team Sideline Jaguar Jig posted this photo, and it looks like he's ready for some football. All laid back at the beach there, cooling. Thanks, Jaguar Jig, for posting this photo on Instagram using the hashtag Team